All right, so this is going to be the surface area of a composite object. In this case, we have 2 cylinders. So we have, they're technically 2 cakes. We have one here that is 26 centimeters for the diameter, as well as a smaller one on top that is 14 centimeters. Both of them are 5 centimeters tall. So we're trying to figure out how much space we would need to frost in order to frost this cake. Generally speaking, we are not going to be frosting the bottom of the cake. So we don't need to do both sides of both the top and the bottom of the cylinder. I tend to like to start with the larger piece first. So for my big cylinder, I'm going to find pi r squared plus 2 times pi times the radius times the height. If I were looking for both of them, I would put a 2 in front of this right here. So if my diameter here is 26, my radius is going to be 13. So with that information, I'm going to plug it into my formula. So pi 13 squared plus 2 times pi times 13. And as we mentioned, the height is 5. At this point, it is a matter of plugging it into my calculator. So we would have pi times 13 squared, which is going to give me 530.93. I did round slightly there. I'm going to keep 2 decimal places. Then we're going to do 2 times pi times 13 times 5. 408 plus 4. 1. Again, I rounded them to be 2 decimal places, and we are going to add these 2 numbers together to get the surface area of our larger piece. So it is approximately 939.39 centimeters squared. The reason I'm saying approximately is because when we're dealing with pi and we're rounding, our numbers can vary a little bit. It'll vary if you use 3.14 or if you use the pi button on your calculator. For the smaller, I'm going to do something that might surprise some of you, but I'm just going to calculate the part that kind of curves around the outside of it. The reason I'm going to be doing that is, well, we're not counting the bottom, but also, if we were to count the top, we're technically counting it a second time, because if this is the bottom cake and we put a cake on top of it, well, the area underneath the cake has already been calculated. So if we calculate the top, that's going to be calculated twice. So in this case, I'm just going to go 2 times pi times the radius times the height. So if my diameter is 14, that means my radius is 7. Like the last cake, my height is 5. So we are going to do 2 times pi times 7 times 5. And that is going to give us approximately 219.91. centimeters squared. Again, approximately, doing some rounding. The total here is going to be the sum of these 2 numbers. So I have 939.39 plus 219.91. So I'm going to add those 2 together to figure out what my total surface area is for my 2 cakes and how much I'm going to need to ice if I were to do this. So I am going to need to ice 1,159.3 centimeters squared. So if I kind of wanted to sum this up, I could say that the area to ice is about 1,159 centimeters squared. And that is what you do in this situation.